good baseball game. I thought our guys did a good job. They were in character. We had Shane obviously was himself and consistent in the strike zone, made some big pitches in that first inning to get a 0. Like the energy of our guys. I thought they played pretty much mistake-free baseball, and I think that's what you have to do to come on the road to this place and win a baseball game.
You open it up to the players.
Shane, congratulations. You just beat one of the best teams in America. You didn't look any different than you looked against any other opponent this year. Did you feel that way, that it was just another game?
Maybe a little more fired up in the later innings. I try to use the crowd to do that. It's a great crowd, super fun place to play, but in the locker room before the game, I was just trying to be myself, and it's just another baseball game, and I was going to go out and attack guys with a similar mentality and attack at pitches, and thankfully I was able to do that and let my defense make the plays they do all the time, like I did all year.
Coming into basically a Power 5 school, ACC school, they've been at or near number 1 all year, and yet you pretty much shut them down. Was there a point during the game today where you felt you had something, you had it going on there, or? Yeah,
probably around the third inning. I think the second inning I hung a slider, and they took advantage of it pretty good and put it well over the right field wall. So I was able to put that behind me and just get ahead with all my pitches. And like I said, let my defense make plays like they have all year. And that third inning I got a little bit more aggressive and established fastball a little bit better and with better height. So fortunate to do that, and my offense picked me up right away after that home run in the second. So pitching with a lead is a little bit easier, and I was able to just fill up the zone like Checketts preaches, and it worked out today.
Austin, you see Shane on a regular basis. What makes him so good?
I think it's his ability to bounce back and just continue to do what he does. He fills up the zone well and lets our defense work, and I think that's a big part of our game and how we play baseball.
Shane, you see Austin, if you make a mistake on one like he did today.
Absolutely. He, I think that's his 4th in 4 games, so that's pretty good. And we're looking for him to continue that, and he's just not trying to be too big, and not physically, because he's pretty big physically, but with his swing, and he's just trying to do what he does, and if they make a mistake, he's going to hit it hard.
Austin, if you could, that 4th inning where you basically belted one just off to the right of the batter's eye, talk us through that sequence, and what did you see right before you belted it?
So I think I led off the inning with that one, and it was the first pitch, and I was just looking for something up in the zone because my first at bat I hadn't seen it up, and so I just was looking for something up and tried to put a good swing on it, and it was a fastball up, and I just got the head out a little bit.
To follow up with what Shane was bringing up, you've had, if I'm understanding correctly, you've homered in each of the 3 previous regionals in Nashville. Now you come up here to Louisville. What is it since regionals began? You've been in a zone. Talk us through that.
I've just been looking for good pitches to hit. Towards the end of the year, wasn't seeing as well as I'd like to, and how I was at the beginning of the year, and so just wanted to simplify things, and just get back to the roots of playing baseball and stuff. And I think I've done a better job of that.
Coach, this year the team has had its difficulties with left-handers. Today was probably the best performance against a left-hander, and probably the best left-hander you faced all year long. What did you see the difference being today, and how this group just never gave in to McKay?
I think we adjusted enough and laid off enough of the breaking balls down and turned a couple big counts around. We were able to hit some fastballs away with leverage, and that was kind of the game plan going into it, was to take the fastball away from him and try and lay off the breaking ball. We weren't perfect at it. I'm not sure how many times we struck out against him. I think it was 9 or 10, somewhere around there. But the majority of the swings we got off were on fastballs that were away and maybe elevated a little bit.
After you took the lead in the 4th, it appeared, at least to me, that they became a little more anxious and chasing out of the zone. Way out of the zone. You used their aggressiveness or their anxiety against them at that point, which you had?
Yeah, I caught on to it a little bit. Later in the game, we started throwing up in the zone a little bit more. Tried to use it as much as we could, so it was big to get ahead in those counts to be able to elevate and change their eye level. So I think the biggest thing was just trusting Dempsey behind the plate, both calling those pitches up and knowing when I would wipe and shake what I wanted, and being able to bury off speed late.
How much of that is psychology and just trying to figure out what their mindset is and how impressive? How much of it is it?
I'd say it's a skill, whether it's the coach or the player, to figure it out. I don't think it's that big of a difference. But as long as someone notices it and is able to communicate it, I think it's definitely helpful.
What are the signs you look for that?
Just swinging early on good pitches. A lot of teams have that mentality going through the game, but they weren't doing that early, so they started to do it late once they got down. That's a typical characteristic, and just trying to getting a little bit big on some better pitches, not not putting short swings on them like they usually do.
Austin, there's something you have about hitting bullets over center field walls. Talk about how you're hitting the ball and looking for a middle opposite field approach as opposed to before where you'd be maybe out in front a little bit earlier this season, but you're just squaring up balls now up the middle.
I think it's just part of my approach to be seeing it deeper and seeing it longer, and then putting a more through swing on the ball instead of yanking off or coming around it. And I think that's just a product of working on that swinging approach.
Austin, are you a different hitter late in the game when you're behind?
I don't think I am. I don't think I try to change too much or really do much more than I know I can, and just want to put good swings on the balls that I see.
Shane, did the fact that this is the program that starts under Super Regional, did that motivate you guys more, or was it more just that you were playing against, Louisville, which is such a good team?
Yeah, I think you asked most of the guys, they'll admit we were sliding a bit late in the season. Thankfully the leadership was able to kind of recognize that and bring it up to the team. And, once we got that at-large berth into the regional, we just said, hey, let's turn a new leaf and let's go out there and play our game and have some fun and be aggressive. And, it's been working out so far.
Cody, it appears that your hat has had better days. Superstition.
Does it look good?
Not really.
It smells good.
What's the story there? Is it superstitious? Or?
No, this is just my game hat. It's I sweat a lot.
Coach,
We're going to wait for Coach until the play.
oh, I beg your pardon. Okay.
You weren't here last night, right? The Smiths down in the football. Anything else for the guys? Okay. You guys can
Thanks,
go.
boys.
We'll move that around.
I agree. Thank you.
Coach, against a team like
Yeah.
Coach Checketts, against a team like Louisville, where you have a chance to get a rally going with 2 outs and nobody on, and Devon gets that rally going for you. How big is it that you're able to score a run, not only to distance yourself from them, but maybe to put a little bit more doubt in their dugout?
Hard to know the psychology of all of it and what's going on in all the other dugouts. That's always difficult to know. So I'm not quite sure how it affected them. I know obviously for us it gave us some energy, and Shane could start to smell it at that point that he had a chance to win a ball game, and so when we've been able to extend a little bit for him, he's been able to settle in, and he did.
How did you see him change once he got up that long?
I think he was a little bit more aggressive, I thought. He was down more. His misses weren't as big. Now, Coach Harvey did have to go out and take a trip. I think it was the 5th or the 6th. I'm not sure which one it was. He went out after Shane elevated on 3 or 4 pitches and was kind of wondering. If he throws 3 in a row, usually we're kind of wondering what's going on, if they're up, because his command's so good. But he was able to step on the gas pedal, I thought, a little bit and stay aggressive and stay on the attack.
How does having that good to start off a weekend series help you as a program and the team?
Our guys play different. We talked about last weekend maybe flipping him and throwing him the second game in the regional, and none of the guys would have it. So we met with them, and I think I would have been on my own on the bus. So and they like playing behind him, he's in the strike zone a lot, and we're not the best hitting team in the world, and we're not the best pitching team in the world, but we can play some infield defense. And when he's out there, I think our guys really play with a different level of energy.
Who's throwing tomorrow?
Not sure yet. We're going to go talk about it. So,
Coach, in terms of tomorrow, this is obviously a super regional. This is Louisville. Hard to convince the guys that, hey, the job's not done yet, or do you not have to say anything? They already know.
This group's pretty unique. I think I've said it a lot. They've got a lot of self-belief. So they've appeared to be on a mission. Obviously, it's not an easy one. That's quite the baseball team over there in that dugout. And, even with a 3-run lead and your best pitcher on the mound and your closer, you're still not super comfortable down going into the late innings. So I think they're all aware of how talented Louisville is and aware of the challenge. And I think at this point, a lot of them feel like we're playing with house money and they're out having some fun.
Coach, coming from a, lack of a better way to put it, a mid-major conference, you go in and you basically...
Have you seen the beach at our place? It's this major, big, wide ocean.
Well, comparing the Big West, obviously, to the ACC, on the surface, it's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
But still, that being said, you look at what your team has accomplished. You've look at what some of the other mid-majors have accomplished during regionals. Is it just a matter of maybe how the teams match up on a particular day that makes it so successful? Talk about that for a moment.
It's still baseball, so whether you're in the South or you're in the North or you're in the West, strikes play and defense plays and hitting fastballs with leverage plays and being able to execute plays so that it ultimately doesn't matter what the conference is or whether you've got football or not or where you're at. And I think our guys have bought into that, and I think having the ability to execute, is what the game's about. And I don't know if I'm answering your question very well here, but I think that's what's about. Our guys have some self-belief, and I think I always tell them, I don't know when they see the stadium, but I always tell them nobody's got it better than us because of our location and the academics and all the stuff that we have to offer. Takes a little bit more convincing maybe when we see a beautiful stadium like this, but our conference has played well and performed well in the postseason historically, and I think prepares us for regionals. And as our program continues to grow, I think our guys, we have some guys that have played 2 or 3 regionals on the team, and so they do have some experience.
Yeah, I know Shane was sort of alluding to, you guys came in as a at-large. If I'm not mistaken, you were the 3rd team out of the Big West. So I mean, is there a little bit of a motivation saying where you guys are out to prove that you belong in the big dance?
Jerry asks me that question all the time, and my response usually is these guys just haven't performed well with the chip on the shoulder mentality. It's just not how they work. They're more of a loose group that likes to go have fun, and that's kind of been their theme. Let's go play hard and have fun today. And the chip, every time I've tried to play that card with them, it hasn't worked out very well. So we really try and avoid that part of it. And the chip part of it also assumes that you're saying where we're at or what we have or our team isn't very good, and so we've really tried to avoid that.
Kind of on that same note, will this win still mean as much even if you guys don't end up advancing to the postseason?
Oh, I think if we lose the next 2 games, that's going to sting pretty good.
This is, I think, the 10th time in 11 starts that Shane has gone over 100 pitches. Do you see any fatigue?
Yeah, he was tired. He was at 110, and he was huffing and puffing when he came out, and Coach Harvey and myself were talking about whether to send him out or not. And usually he'll put up a pretty good fight, and he didn't put up much of a fight. I think he was aware that he was tired. And I think another piece of that is that he knows that Kyle Nelson's coming in to relieve him, and he's pretty good. So, well, the heat. I mean, if it's over 74, we start crying. So, it's.
Coach, you always make it hard. You're quick. I never seen McKay pitch in person. I've seen him on TV. He looked like a pro. His demeanor is professional. Lord willing, he'll play Major League Baseball forever someday. Did you see body language out of him, though, when things got rolling for the Gauchos, where he's kind of looking around going like, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's hard to know. I don't see him every day. You know, I think you probably don't pick that stuff up unless you're seeing him every day. I know he's special. You know, when he punched Kalik out to lead off the first, I was like, oh, we're gonna get no hit today. So it was coming out of his hand pretty good, and he was screaming at it, and had a really good breaking ball going early, and then got up and elevated a little bit. But with their offense, when you're hitting 330 and you give up a couple runs, it's probably not panic time yet. Is my guess.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.